Dear you, I didn't wake up one morning and decide to become someone else. That's important, because if I had, I would have stopped myself. The change was subtle. It came dressed as patience, as understanding, as maturity. It came the way dim lights come on at restaurants, slowly enough that you don't notice when the room stops being bright. I remember standing in the kitchen one evening, barefoot, the tile cold in a way that felt personal. The overhead light was too harsh, so I turned on the lamp instead, the one meant to soften things. I had learned by then that softness was my responsibility. You were late. Again, not late enough to apologize with urgency, just late enough to expect grace. I watched the clock on the microwave tick forward, each second loud in its own quiet way. I wasn't angry yet. I was preparing to be angry, which I've learned is far more dangerous. When you walked in, you smiled, that familiar, disarming smile, the one that used to feel like relief. That night, it felt like a test, and I heard myself say, "Oh, okay, cool." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I didn't even ask where you'd been. I told myself that meant I was growing, but inside something tightened. Because while my mouth said cool, my body was already bracing. My shoulders lifted slightly. My jaw set. My thoughts sharpened into neat little weapons I pretended not to notice. I smiled back. That's the part I hate the most. I smiled, while silently rehearsing every moment I'd felt dismissed, every time I'd waited, every time I'd told myself not to make a big deal out of things that kept becoming big deals anyway. That was the first time I realized something about myself, dear you. I don't just get mad, I store it. I always thought anger would announce itself. Loud, obvious, unmistakable. But mine didn't. Mine learned to whisper. It showed up as sarcasm disguised as humor, as just being honest, as questions asked with answers already loaded inside them. I became efficient with my irritation. I remember a conversation on the couch, late at night, the television on mute, blue light flickering across the walls. You were talking, explaining something that mattered to you, and I nodded at all the right times, but I wasn't listening. I was waiting for my turn to correct, to clarify, to subtly remind you of something you'd overlooked, usually me. And when I spoke, my voice was calm, measured, almost gentle. That's how I knew something was wrong, because I wasn't trying to connect, I was trying to win. I hated how good I got at it. I could dismantle a moment without raising my voice. I could make a point feel final. I could end conversations with surgical precision and still look reasonable doing it. Afterward, alone in the bathroom, I'd stare at my reflection, silk robe slipping off one shoulder, mascara still intact, and feel something like disappointment. Not in you, in me. I didn't recognize this version of myself. She kept receipts. She replayed tone instead of words. She punished with distance and called it boundaries. And the worst realization of all, she felt justified. I told myself I was reacting, not becoming, that anyone would behave this way if pushed enough. But deep down, I knew better. Love wasn't turning me into someone cruel. It was revealing how I handle hurt when I don't feel safe enough to be soft. There was a moment, quiet, unremarkable, when I finally saw myself clearly. We were arguing, not dramatically, just tiredly, the kind of argument where both people are calm because they've already spent their energy elsewhere. You said something small, something careless, and I responded with something sharp. Not loud, not explosive, precise. I watched your face change, not into anger, but into withdrawal, like a door closing gently but firmly. And instead of stopping, instead of reaching for you, I doubled down, because I wanted you to feel what I'd been holding, and that's when it hit me. I wasn't fighting for the relationship. I was fighting from resentment. I had become someone who used words as leverage, someone who equated control with safety, someone who mistook emotional distance for strength. That night, lying in bed beside you, I stared at the ceiling and felt something heavier than anger. Grief. Grief for the version of myself who used to soften instead of sharpen, who spoke from hurt instead of strategy, who believed love meant staying open even when it was uncomfortable. Here's the lesson I wish I had learned sooner. Dear you, pay attention to who you are when you're mad. Because that version of you is telling the truth, not about the other person, but about what you need, what you fear, and what you no longer feel safe asking for directly. I didn't lose myself in love. I uncovered parts of myself I hadn't healed yet. I don't tell this story to shame myself. I tell it because awareness is the beginning of mercy. Now, when anger rises, I listen differently. I ask what it's protecting. I notice whether my instinct is to explain or to defend. And I remember this. Love doesn't require perfection, but it does require responsibility, especially for the way we speak when we're hurt, especially for who we become when we feel unseen. That relationship didn't end because I was angry. It changed because I didn't know how to be angry honestly. And I promised myself something after that I would never again confuse composure with kindness or silence with peace. Because love deserves a version of me who stays recognizable, even when she's mad.